Another year, another embarrassing series of press conferences where a bunch of middle-aged men try desperately to sell you their more than likely falsely advertised product that's sure to disappoint the ever-loving shit out of you when it launches. Luckily for me, this is now the second year in a row I've been on vacation when this happened, so not only do all of you people just tell me what happened on Twitter anyway, but it means I don't have to sit through whatever the hell this is. Anyway, I'm just gonna talk about the games I actually give enough of a shit about to have an opinion on and probably piss a lot of you off in the process. But hey, in my defense, you were the ones that asked for this. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Okay, I'm not even going to entertain the dumb, but my older Tomb Raider games. First off, the really old Tomb Raider games have aged like absolute shit, and you're lying if you deny that. Second, I never personally found those games fun to begin with, but I do actually like these reboots. The first one was a really solid origin story for Lara and the gameplay was pretty good. The second one was fun as fuck and had so many great gameplay additions and changes, but the story was so meh. You can only do the whole evil corporation shit so much before it gets really unbelievably old, and Rise of the Tomb Raider didn't do it well, like, at all. It looks like they're doing more of that, and I'm worried. I'm sure gameplay-wise it'll be fine, but I hope that it'll go back to what made the first game's narrative so much fun. I know they have it in them, but this whole Weyland-Yutani ripoff looks like it's going to be just as insufferable and boring as last time. So if they could just not be bad again, that would be great. Also, is it just me, or do the character models look like fucking plastic in this trailer? It's weird because the last two games look downright stunning. Rise, in particular, looked beautiful as hell. Why does Lara look like a fucking glossy Barbie figure in this trailer? Death Stranding. Okay, why are people excited for this game exactly? Is it just because of Hideo Kojima? Because I think that's it. I have not played any of Kojima's games, so he could be great for all I know, but what the shit even is this game? I genuinely don't know what the hell this is supposed to be. All I've garnered from this is that Norman Reedus is pregnant, and there's black sky tentacles attached to big people in a sandy, wet place. What the fuck that's supposed to mean, I have no fucking idea. This is the closest thing I've seen to gameplay, and it's just walking and crouching. Can't forget about the crouching. I don't know if Kojima is just dog shit at conveying ideas in a way that comes even remotely close to looking or sounding coherent, but I don't know how the hell I'm meant to be excited for a game when there's like a solid 15 seconds of the trailer dedicated to a bitch chewing something. Call of Cthulhu. Aw, it looks like it's gonna fucking suck, man. How did last year's trailer turn into this? The story trailer looks like some goofy fucking parody of a Lovecraft story, and the gameplay looks like a fucking straight copy of Agony, but with less tits, and it might suck slightly less. Agony disappointed the shit out of me. I really don't want this to do the same. There's nowhere near enough good horror games anymore, and please defy my expectations. Defy the fact that you look like some shitty PS3 game, please. Metro Exodus. I'm really disappointed that this game has to come out in 2019 because it looks really good. This time they show actual fucking legitimate gameplay that looks like an actual fucking legitimate Metro game, and I am so fucking hyped for this shit. I love the idea of a semi-open world set in the Metro universe, and the game looks like it's fun as hell. I'm kinda weirded out that Miller is in this game because spoilers, but in Metro 2035, Artyom and Anna leave Moscow alone. Not sure how they're going to tie that in, but the games have been doing a pretty solid job at keeping true to the books while also not invading on their territory. What makes me nervous is that this semi-open world environment might take away from the story. The first two games had a really good story, though 2033 was better, just saying. Still, the story is what keeps me coming back because it's so interesting and unique, but I'm afraid that they'll put too much effort into making a believable open world and not put enough effort into a good narrative. That doesn't have to be the case. The Evil Within 2 told a far more coherent narrative than that fucking stupid first game where you had to buy 2 DLCs to understand what the fuck was even happening with any degree of nuance at all. And that game had a semi-open world and it worked fine. Metro has had a great track record so far, so I'm hopeful. I'm just gonna remain cautiously optimistic. The Division 2. Why are people excited for this game? Remember what happened last time we were excited for this game? You know, when they gave us fucking 4 graphics downgrades, falsely advertised the shit out of the game, and it launched with a dogshit story and some of the most boring, uninspired gameplay and quests imaginable. I'm sure that you're all so fucking excited to unload like 5 fucking magazines into the bullet sponge bosses. I mean, I heard it's better now after all its DLC came out, but are you people so fucking unfathomably retarded that you've already forgotten how badly they fucked us last time? God, you're doing it again. Destiny 2 had the same fucking problem. A bunch of stupid fucks watched as Bungie gave all the warning signs that they were doing the same fucking thing as last time. Something I pointed out and was right about, and look, Destiny 2 fucking sucks. Stop giving into the hype train for what's so obviously a fucking trap, and not even the good kind. Battlefield 5. I mean, the trailer at E3 looked better than the CGI clusterfuck where a fucking cyborg woman was pulling off trick shots in World War II, but I can't say I'm even remotely interested. Yeah, adding a battle royale doesn't make it better. Why are people so obsessed with battle royale? What is the fucking appeal of getting one life and fucking running around a map to hopefully find someone once every half hour only to get shot in the back by someone a mile away so you can get booted back to the main menu to repeat the same idiot process all over again? And why do Battlefield and Call of Duty think that's going to work for them? Speaking of which, Black Ops 4. Yeah, you know, let's just take out the story being the one interesting thing that the Black Ops games fucking had and replace it with a shitty battle royale mode that will likely be just as broken and shitty as every other battle royale ever. Star Wars Battlefront IIEA. I refuse to call you Battlefront 2. That title belongs to the true Battlefront 2, which came out 13 years ago and is way fucking better. And what do you know? I was totally right when I said in my last E3 video that Battlefront 2 was gonna fucking suck. But I got a lot of shit for that because people are a bunch of gullible fucking retards that will buy anything even though it's very clearly gonna fucking suck. Oh, but now you get to play as the iconic Lando Calrissian and Han Solo, portrayed by fucking Donald Glover and Alden Puckermouth, because everyone wanted that. Anthem. So after humiliating themselves in a very CNN fashion by posting tweets on the screen, EA decided to try and convince us that Anthem is totally good and totally isn't going to be another Destiny and Division. People for some reason really want my opinion on this, and my opinion is that it would be far more appealing to me if it wasn't coming from the same people that butt-fucked Mass Effect in the last game. That, and if it wasn't another Destiny but with a jetpack. Otherwise, I just don't fucking give a shit. Halo Infinite. I don't know what to make of this one. I mean, it's another 343 game, so it's pretty much guaranteed to suck like usual, but apparently the mere fact that it went back to the old art style is enough to convince everyone that it's gonna be great. That, and I guess the most creative alien wildlife 343 can think of are antelopes that glow and rhinos with an extra horn or two. I know I'm in the minority here, but I could give two fucks less about the way the game looks as opposed to how the game plays. I had way more of an issue with Halo 4 mechanically than I did with its visual style. Personally, I thought Master Chief looked pretty cool in the new armor, but whatever. Not saying I disagree about the art style being largely bad, since I've talked shit about it myself, but this looks like it might be such an enormous change so quickly that it would totally shatter continuity in the Reclaimer trilogy or saga or franchise, whatever fucking retarded shit 343 is calling it now. So is this gonna be like a soft reboot? I mean, I heard it's a sequel to Halo 5, but are they going to retcon anything about it, kind of like Days of Future Past? I mean, personally, I'd like them to retcon all of it, but that would imply that 343 would have to make a good decision, which they won't. But am I the only one worried that this is going to be really unimaginably stupid? I mean, it was one thing for Chief to get an armor upgrade from Halo 1 to 2 as it advances forward in time. Hell, I would even accept Chief's Halo 4 armor. Their whole nanobot excuse was fucking stupid, but at least he was still recognizable and cool looking. But is he going to get a fucking random armor downgrade now? And is that going to apply to everyone else? I don't mean downgrade in terms of visual style, I mean just in terms of it's randomly going back in time for what would narratively appear to be for no reason whatsoever. Unless they provide a super good explanation why super important shit like his armor is suddenly going back in time, this is just gonna be a ridiculous artistic clash, and the frail consistency this game has is gonna get even fucking frailer. I mean, changing the Marines and the Covenant, okay, cool, but it would be kinda bizarre if you jump from Halo 5 to Halo 6 and Chief is suddenly back to Halo 3 out of nowhere. There's only so much you can change at once before it becomes just as bad a narrative piece as the rest of the game's broken story at this point. Honestly, probably would have been a better idea to slowly pull it all back to its artistic roots by picking and choosing certain things to revert back to, at least until Chief's out of the picture, then do a full art reversion after his story is finished. Now it's just gonna feel like going from Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, only all the stormtroopers are episode 3 clones, and Han Solo and Lando are played by Donald Glover and Alden fuck my ass. It just seems kind of odd. Apparently there won't be a Halo game until 2019 at least, which gives them more time to work on it, sure, but I have next to no hope they'll do this right. 343 likes to toss a bone to the community and pretend like it was their idea all along while simultaneously fucking everything else beyond repair. Oh cool, we get fair starts now? Oh wait, the gameplay is like some shitty Crysis knockoff. Oh, we get the old art style back? Mark my fucking words, they're gonna add something like wall running or fuck the story even worse in the next game. I'll check it out cautiously just because I want to see Chief through to the end, because for some fucking reason I still give a shit about this series, but I have no hope whatsoever that 343 will somehow pull a good game out of their asses. They've managed to fuck up everything they put their names on, and the best game they've made wasn't even made by them, so what I'm saying is don't get your hopes up. This trailer is getting a ton of great publicity, YouTubers I really like are making super positive videos on it, and everyone seems to be hyped as hell, but I think everyone needs to dial it back a bit because we've been stuck with 343 since 2011 and they have yet to release a single good game beyond Halo Wars 2. A game of which wasn't even made by them, and the story was so pointless and weak that you're not missing a fucking thing if you don't buy it. I think we should approach with caution, because otherwise all we're doing is telling 343 that the hype train alone is enough for you. 343 had a fantastic marketing team, we already know that. Halo 4 and Halo 5 had awesome marketing, but they're really bad games with like only 1 or 2 good parts to each of them. Can we just, you know, not give into the hype train like we do every fucking time, please? Because I'd like to see another good Halo game come out at some point, but I fail to see how a fucking pre-rendered tech demo showing off a return to the old art style is meant to fix the fact that the story is irreversibly fucked into oblivion and the gameplay hasn't felt like an actual Halo game since Halo 3 ODST. The multiplayer is fucked, and the only thing that seems to be legitimately good is Forge, which they're just as likely to fuck up again like they did in Halo 4. Caution, people. Caution. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Okay, I'm disappointed that this isn't coming out until 2019, but fuck does this look amazing. Somehow the art got even more gorgeous, attention to detail like Ori sounding a little bit more mature than last we saw him, side quests, new powers and abilities, equally astounding music, and what I'm sure will be just as strong a story as the first game has got me hyped as fuck for this game. I really like the fact that because Satan had to go into the spirit tree at the end of the first game, Ori now has to find a different way to move and fight without him, which is a really cool narrative touch that allows for new gameplay elements to coincide with the progression of the story. It looks like they've completely reworked the combat system, which is good. The combat in the first game really wasn't the point beyond like the first few stages. A guy on Twitter put it really nicely. Criticizing the first game for its combat is kind of like criticizing Mario for its combat. You're kind of completely missing the point. Well, now you can't complain about the fact that the combat is simplistic and hardly there, because now they have actual combat, motherfucker, and it has all the same abilities we know and love, but revamped to like 1 billion. I have enormous expectations for this game because the first is literally my favorite video game of all time, but so far it looks like it's blowing my expectations out of the fucking water, and I'm so goddamn excited to play the living shit out of the sequel. Also, it allows me to ride an owl, so now I get to make a bunch of sex jokes to my girlfriend. Crackdown 3. Is anyone actually interested in this game? Doom Eternal. First off, can we stop with this retarded CGI trailer bullshit? I don't give a shit, just show me the fucking game. And if the game isn't fucking ready yet, then don't announce it until it is. You'd think this would be a simple thing, but apparently people are more concerned with selling you on something that has a name and a really pretty fucking looking fake trailer to a game you know nothing about. With that said, Doom 2016 was fucking awesome. Please don't fuck it up like Wolfenstein 2. I loved the New Order, and I even had fun with the Old Blood, but the new Colossus fucking sucked a giant pulsating raccoon dick. And I'd really like it if Doom Eternal didn't suck a giant pulsating succubus dick. Does succubi even have dicks? Yeah, in this day and age they probably do. Speaking of which, Wolfenstein the Youngblood. What do you know? Following in the footsteps of its SJW predecessor, we get a new mini Wolfenstein that's extra mini by making us play as 2 little girls. Will black female teenage Iron Man make a cameo in this one? Because if we're gonna shit on the reboot's freshly dug grave some more, we may as well go all out to the point that we can hopefully get another reboot in the future that stays true to what made the New Order a good game. That being the exact opposite of everything in the new Colossus. Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Spyro was my fucking childhood in a nutshell. Yeah, now you know why I'm such a gay fucking faggot. I've been waiting for a remaster or a sequel for years, and fuck am I so excited for this game. Taking the original 3 games and making them look sexy as absolute fuck and updating the controls so you can use the analog sticks is gonna be so great. I loved these games to death, and I'm currently playing through them again in anticipation in a totally legal, definitely not emulating them on my PC fashion. And this is probably gonna be my favorite game of the year. The gameplay I'm seeing looks a little iffy though. Maybe it's just a result of the people playing games at E3 just absolutely fucking sucking at everything, but the footage we've seen doesn't look like it does the camera controls any justice. I just hope they iron out the way it functions, because while the clunky PS1 controls aren't unworkable, I just want this game to play and look better. I'll just be so fucking happy, and there will be some light that'll reignite in my cold, dead furfag heart if this game turns out to be as good as I hope it'll be. Gears of War 5. I can't wait for the next entry to the video game with the worst story in the entire industry. Seriously, I hope they actually attempt to do something different with this. Using the Nasher on everyone for every single multiplayer match in existence only stays so fun for so long, and since I can guarantee the story will be just as worthless and retarded as every single Gears game in existence, if the gameplay doesn't attempt something new, then I think this game is gonna die off fast. PUBG. Oh, wonderful, the $30 beta has snow. I said this game was $60 in my best and worst games of 2017 review. I didn't actually realize it was $30 because I didn't buy it, my friend bought it for me, and I wholeheartedly hated every single second of it. But I guess adding fucking low-res snow warrants an E3 presentation? Couldn't someone have fucking modded that into the game? Nah, they'd probably get banned, then called racist by the dipshit dev again. Devil May Cry 5. Wait, so how did this get a sequel exactly? I never played it, nor have I played the originals, but I thought everyone hated the last game. Didn't the last reboot come out in like 2013 or something and everyone really hated it? Again, I'm not pretending to know anything about this series because I've never played it. I'm just genuinely confused because I was under the impression this series was dead after the reboot. A small fox boy beating things with an exceptionally long I mean, his sword, guys, his sword, not his throbbing knotted cock, just his sword is all. Dying Light 2. You know, I'm so fucking sick of zombies at this point that I just can't bring myself to give a shit. Cyberpunk 2077. I'm inclined to say this will be good because I've liked almost everything CD Projekt Red has come out with, but just like with Death Stranding, I don't know how I'm meant to be excited for a game that doesn't show off any fucking gameplay. I want to know what this game is, but I don't, and it's been in development for like half a century or something, so I don't know. The Elder Scrolls 6. Okay, so we got some mountains and a title. That's absolutely fucking nothing. Look, I loved the world of Skyrim, but can we please get 2 things? 1, I want a story that's actually compelling. The dragon shit in Skyrim was cool, but the dialogue was so frustratingly dull that I never actually finished the main quest because it bored the shit out of me. 2, we need a new gameplay engine, man. The enemies are retarded, and the gameplay in Skyrim was fucking dog shit. Sure, shooting fire at guys was neat, but that lost its novelty pretty fucking quickly. Look, I'm perfectly willing to be hyped for this game, but unless you can tell me that you're gonna put a lick of fucking effort into making a new engine that isn't dated as shit and work on your fucking writing, then I'm probably not gonna give that much of a shit. Fallout 76. So basically, it is the worst Fallout game ever made, but online. That sounds so unappealing that I can't fathom how anyone is excited for this. Fallout 4 is the same issue with an outdated engine, and because the gameplay is so hopelessly clunky and awkward and is somehow far behind Call of Duty at this point, I can't even imagine this game seeming halfway fun in an online setting. Also, don't you love the bullshit of, you get to make your own story line? You know what that sounds like? That sounds a lot like, there ain't no fucking story, bitch. Sure, it looks like some monsters and other enemies might be fun to fight in the same way that banging your skull against a brick wall would be fun. So, like, about as entertaining as everything that came out after Fallout 2. But does anyone really think this game is gonna be good? Also, I forgot to mention this with the Elder Scrolls, but are we seriously going to pretend that a fucking mobile Elder Scrolls could even work? Skull and Bones! This honestly strikes me as a prettier version of Sea of Thieves, and we all know how that turned out. Destiny 2! Oh look, a new DLC that nobody with a fucking goddamn functioning brain is gonna buy. The Last of Us 2. So it looks like the first one, but prettier. That's fine, I guess. Just so long as we don't have any more of that bullshit where people think this is somehow one of the greatest games ever made. I might do a video on this if I give a shit, but honestly, The Last of Us is the single most overrated game ever created in the entire industry. It is such a passably okay game that I can't figure out how the hell people like it so much. Oh yeah, it has a predictable, mediocre story that's so deep that if you've watched literally any given episode of The Walking Dead, then you have already figured out what the fucking plot is going to be like. The only original bone in its body is that the zombies are slightly different from normal zombies. That's not to say that the game is bad, per se. The visuals are stellar, voice acting and motion capture is superb, sound design is beautiful, and some parts of the musical score were as haunting as they were moving, but are we really going to pretend this is some paragon of gaming here? Oh yeah, let's just forget that a fucking solid 60% of the game is spent walking, watching cutscenes, or doing this shitty pseudo-platforming, and the rest of it is genuinely fun gunplay and the fucking absolute goddamn easiest stealth system ever devised in history. So easy that a fucking bumbling retard with only half a skull could do it without a problem. Yeah, the fact that we're getting what's essentially another Walking Dead knockoff that looks identical to the last game doesn't exactly excite me. Maybe if this came out in the heyday of the zombie phase, I could pretend to care, but you don't get points from me for making something so criminally unoriginal that the only thing that distinguishes this from any other zombie game is that it makes an attempt at having a narrative and looks pretty. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Okay, look, I quit the series after 3, and from what I've heard, that's been a really good decision, but I heard Origins was actually good, and I thought this game looked genuinely fun. So, has Origins figured out its bullshit with the DRM thing? Because I might actually go play it if I can play this thing too. And do I need to know what happened between 3 and Origins to understand anything in general? Because I can't say I'm too thrilled about the prospect of playing these other copycats. Also, didn't Ubisoft say that we weren't going to get a yearly Assassin's Creed game anymore? Did they like immediately go back on that? Man-eater. So someone made Sharknado into a video game. That sounds a lot like Goat Simulator. 5 minutes of fun, then I'll never touch it again. Sable. This game kind of reminds me of Studio Ghibli anime shit. That strikes me as pretty cool, but artsy games can go one of two ways. It can go like Ori and the Blind Forest and be just as excellent in every other area as it is with the art department, or it can be like Fee, which just desperately tries to pretend it's Ori and be one of the most insultingly retarded games I've ever played. Please be like the former and don't disappoint me, because I'm actually intrigued by this. Spider-Man. It looks pretty, I'll give it that, but honestly, I'm not interested in this game, like, even remotely. But a lot of people won't shut the fuck up and stop asking me about it, so there you go. Nintendo. You may wonder why I gave the name of the company rather than the name of a specific game. Well, I don't really give a shit about Nintendo, so I didn't watch any of it. The only game I was even remotely interested in was Breath of